Big political story right now. K. Chandrasekhar Rao, popularly known as KCR, is on a national tour in which he is meeting with a slew of political leaders, like-minded regional political leaders ahead, not just of the general elections in 2024, but also of another election that is looming on the horizon. And I'm talking about the presidential polls that are scheduled for July. The opposition is yet to announce a joint candidate for the presidential election, and the regional parties are going to be playing a crucial role here in the opposition's contest against the NDA's candidate. So as the opposition tries to cobble together a strategy, get its act together, does the NDA have the numbers? Let's go across to Nidhi Razan for more on this. Nidhi, the BJP won 4 out of 5 states in those recent assembly elections. So does that mean they have the numbers?
Well, actually, as far as numbers are concerned, the NDA is quite comfortably placed. Now, just let's take a look at what it's going to look like. The term of President Ramnath Kovind ends on the 25th of July. So these presidential elections are now going to be the key focus politically, and how what positions are taken by different parties, whether they're opposition or non-NDA parties who are sitting on the fence. And all of this could be something that we see as a precursor to what happens ahead of the 2024 general election. Now, as far as numbers are concerned, as you said, the NDA comfortably placed. They have 48.9% of the vote and need just a little over 1% to actually win the presidential election. On the other hand, opposition and other parties have about 51.1% of the vote. But the key here is that the BJP frankly needs only one of the fence sitters, like the Biju Janata Dal or Jagan Reddy's YSRCP from Andhra Pradesh, and they will be home free. So they just need the support of one of these parties for their candidate to win. But the political subtext here is important, as we were saying, because you have KCR, for example, the Telangana Chief Minister, who's actively pitching for a non-Congress, non-BJP front for the general election. And in the last few weeks, he's been aggressively moving forward to meet key opposition leaders, using the presidential elections in a sense as a test case. He's just met Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. Earlier, he had already met Uddhav Thackeray, Sharad Pawar, Akhilesh Yadav, spoken to MK Stalin on the phone. He's going to be meeting former Prime Minister Deve Gowda and JDS leader HD Kumaraswamy in Bangalore later this week. And at the end of the month, he also travels to West Bengal to meet Mamta Banerjee. Interestingly, he'll be meeting both Nitish Kumar in Bihar as well as Tejasvi Yadav. He's also likely to reach out to Odisha's Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, one of the key fence sitters, so his support will be crucial. And he had also, in fact, travelled earlier to Bhubaneswar to meet with him. Rahul Gandhi's comments, meanwhile, that regional parties don't have the ideology to take on the BJP, has actually stirred more resentment amongst several regional players, including the Congress's own allies. So it will be interesting to see who the opposition candidate will be. At the way things stand, it doesn't look like it would be a Congress candidate. Could the opposition actually give the BJP a tough fight, even if at the moment it appears to be comfortably placed? We'll have to wait and see.
All right, let's take this further we have Akhilesh joining us and Sunil Prabhu. So to Akhilesh, to you first, the BJP taking no chances to ensure that its nominee gets elected, but could there be a twist in the script? Because as of now, we've been reporting that the relationship or the BJP's ties with its ally, the JDU, seem to be going through a tough time. Could that be a political twist in the script?
Well, that's the key point you have mentioned, Sarah, because it's the Nitish Kumar who is going to decide that, what the BJP's game plan going to be. Because if he revolts like he has been doing for the past presidential elections, he has not been supporting BJP or NDA's candidates. Will he do the same thing this time also? That's a big question, and we have seen that how on the caste census issue he has been putting pressure on the ally BJP, and also now we know that RCP Singh, who is a cabinet minister, his Rajya Sabha term is coming to an end, and it's a big question whether Nitish Kumar renominates him or not, and that will actually give us an idea whether Nitish Kumar wants to continue with his relationship with the BJP or not. In the meanwhile, of course, we know that Dharmendra Pradhan, who was in charge for BJP when he was general secretary, he has gone to Patna and he had a meeting with Nitish Kumar. He sounded Nitish Kumar about the presidential elections, and we also know that Ashwini Vaishnav is in touch with Naveen Patnaik. GVL Narasimha Rao is with Jagan Mohan Reddy. So BJP has deputed key leaders to get in touch with the allies and the possible supporting parties.
All right, and Sunil Prabhu also joins us. We have what, about 2 months, because the 5-year term for President Kovind ends on the 25th of July. Are regional parties, Sunil, willing to accept the central role and the dominance of the grand old party in the opposition space, or is there a chance that they could actually chalk out a completely different separate plan?
Well, there will definitely be a separate plan. It is definitely something that will have to be done jointly. They will have to put up a candidate because the numbers are definitely against them. As I pointed out earlier, it's very clear that non-NDA parties have already indicated that they would like to put up an opposition candidate. In the last time round, it was Meera Kumar, who was a Congress candidate. Gopal Gandhi was the vice presidential candidate, not exactly a Congress candidate in the true sense of the term. And it's in that backdrop that the Congress president has been working with Mr. Sharad Pawar and other like-minded parties, and they will be meeting shortly after the Rajya Sabha nominations are through and that entire process gets underway, because that's when the Election Commission will notify the elections for the President of India, and that entire process starts. So having said that, they will be definitely looking for that candidate who will be not from a Congress background, but definitely somebody who's acceptable to all political parties, because as I've been speaking to various opposition leaders, be it from the Trinamool Congress, be it from various other factions, they definitely want somebody who is acceptable to all political parties and not necessarily from the Congress background. And the Congress is acceptable to have a candidate not necessary from a Congress background. So they don't want to show that big daddy attitude at the present. I also did an interview with Mr. Naveen Patnaik a few weeks ago, where he made it very categorically clear that the Biju Janata Dal will definitely look at that candidate of the BJP-led NDA and then decide to support, but indicated quite clearly that they are in favor of supporting the NDA candidate when that presidential election gets underway.